What if I told you that the person you become in 2027 is already being created today? Not next month, not next year, today. Let me ask you something. Imagine it's the last day of 2027. You're sitting alone, looking back at the previous 2 years of your life. Would you smile because you finally became the person you always wanted to be? Or would you quietly wonder, where did all the time go? Because here's something most people never realize. Your future doesn't arrive all at once. It arrives one ordinary day at a time, one decision, one habit, one excuse, one opportunity you either take or ignore. And that's exactly why millions of people stay in the same place year after year. They aren't waiting because they can't change. They're waiting because they think they have more time. But time has a strange way of disappearing. One day becomes 1 week. 1 week becomes 1 month. 1 month quietly becomes another year. Before they know it, the future they kept postponing has already become the past. Now here's the good news. You are watching this today. That means you still have something incredibly valuable: time. And if you use it wisely, the next 18 months could completely change the direction of your life. Not because of luck, not because someone rescues you, but because you decide to become someone different. Today, I'm going to share 8 things you must improve before 2027. These aren't random tips you'll forget tomorrow. They're the foundations behind almost every successful person you'll ever meet. And I encourage you to stay until the very end, because the final improvement is the one that quietly controls all the others. Miss it, and even great habits begin to fall apart. So, let's begin. 1. Build unbreakable discipline. Before we talk about money, before confidence, before success, before any goal you've ever dreamed about, we have to talk about one word that most people misunderstand: discipline. The moment people hear this word, they imagine strict rules, waking up at 5 in the morning, never having fun, or forcing themselves to suffer. But that's not discipline, not even close. Real discipline is much simpler. It's keeping the promises you make to yourself, especially on the days when nobody is watching. Think about that for a second. Have you ever promised yourself, tomorrow I'll wake up early? Then tomorrow arrives. The alarm rings, and suddenly your bed feels warmer than your dreams. We've all experienced it. The problem isn't that you're lazy. The problem is that your emotions are making your decisions, and emotions change every day. Some mornings you feel unstoppable. Other mornings you don't even want to get out of bed. If your progress depends on how you feel, your progress will always be unpredictable. Successful people understand something different. They don't wait until they feel motivated. They build systems that work even when motivation disappears. Because motivation is temporary. Discipline is dependable. Imagine 2 people. Both want to become healthier. The first person exercises only when they feel inspired. Some weeks they work out 5 times. Other weeks, not once. The second person decides something simple. Every evening at 6 o'clock, they walk for 30 minutes. Whether they're excited, whether they're tired, whether it's raining, whether it's a good day or a bad one, 6 months later, who do you think has changed more? The answer isn't surprising. The person who depended on routine always beats the person who depended on emotion. That's because routines remove negotiation, and negotiation is where most dreams quietly die. Every time your brain asks, "Should I do it today?" you've already created an opportunity to quit. Now imagine instead that the decision has already been made. 7 o'clock, study. 6 o'clock, exercise. 10 o'clock, sleep. No debate, no excuses. just action. That's the hidden power of discipline. Here's something fascinating. Think about brushing your teeth. Most people never wake up excited to brush their teeth. Nobody says, "I can't wait to brush my teeth tonight." They simply do it. Why? Because it has become part of their identity. It isn't something they decide. It's something they are. Now imagine if reading, learning English, working on your business, or exercising became just as automatic. How different would your life look after 1 year? Probably very different. Not because you suddenly became more talented, because you became more consistent. Consistency is one of the quietest superpowers in the world. It doesn't look impressive today. It looks impressive after hundreds of ordinary days. There's another mistake people make. They believe discipline means doing big things. Actually, discipline begins with very small things. Making your bed, arriving on time, finishing what you started, keeping one promise to yourself every day. Small victories teach your brain something powerful. I can trust myself, and trust is where confidence begins. Many people think confidence comes first. It doesn't. Confidence grows every time you prove to yourself that your actions match your words. Imagine two friends. Every week, one of them makes huge promises. I'm going to change. I'm going to start. This is my year. But nothing happens. The other friend says very little. Instead, they quietly improve. They read. They exercise. They learn. They keep showing up. After 1 year, who do you think people admire more? Usually, the quiet one. Because real discipline rarely makes noise. It simply produces results. Now here's a question I want you to answer honestly. What is one promise you've been breaking to yourself? Maybe it's waking up earlier. Maybe it's exercising. Maybe it's learning a new skill. Maybe it's finally starting that dream you've been postponing. Whatever it is, don't wait for Monday. Don't wait for next month. Don't wait for January. Start today. Not perfectly, just intentionally. Remember, your future isn't built by one extraordinary decision. It's built by hundreds of ordinary decisions that nobody else notices. Every time you choose growth instead of comfort, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. One vote won't change your life, but thousands of votes will. And one day, you'll wake up and realize you didn't become successful overnight. You simply became the kind of person who stopped breaking promises to yourself. That is what discipline really is. Now that you've built the foundation, it's time to improve something that determines how the world sees you. Because opportunities don't only come to the smartest people, they often come to the people who can clearly express their ideas. Let's talk about the second thing you must improve before 2027. Your communication skills. Discipline changes your relationship with yourself. But the next skill changes your relationship with the world, because no matter how talented you are, if people don't understand your ideas, your talent often stays invisible. Think about it. How many brilliant people never receive opportunities simply because they struggle to express themselves? Meanwhile, someone with average knowledge but excellent communication often becomes the leader. That's why the second improvement isn't about speaking more. It's about communicating better. Second, improve your communication skills. Let me ask you another question. Have you ever thought of the perfect answer 5 minutes after the conversation ended? Maybe during a meeting, a classroom, a job interview, or even while talking with friends. In that moment, you knew exactly what you wanted to say, but the words never came. Later, everything became clear. If you've experienced this, you're not alone. Almost everyone has. And here's why. Most people think communication is about talking. It isn't. Communication is about helping another person understand what's inside your mind. That's a completely different skill. Imagine holding a beautiful idea inside your head. If you can't explain it clearly, it's like owning a treasure chest without knowing where the key is. The treasure exists, but nobody can see it. Your words are that key. Here's something interesting. People rarely remember every word you say, but they always remember how you made them feel. Think about the best teacher you've ever had, or someone whose advice stayed with you for years. Was it because they used complicated vocabulary? Probably not. It was because they made difficult ideas feel simple. That's real communication, not sounding intelligent, making other people understand. Now imagine two job candidates. Both have the same education, the same experience, the same skills. During the interview, the first person gives confusing answers. They speak too quickly. They lose confidence halfway through. The second person speaks calmly, clearly. They pause before answering. They organize their thoughts. Who gets the opportunity? Most of the time, the better communicator. Not because they know more, because people trust what they understand. And trust opens doors. One of the easiest ways to improve communication is surprisingly simple. Slow down. Many people believe speaking faster makes them sound smarter. Actually, it often creates confusion. Confident people aren't afraid of silence. They pause, they think, then they speak. That small pause tells your brain, I don't need to rush. And surprisingly, other people begin listening more carefully. Another powerful habit is learning to listen. Most people don't listen to understand. They listen to reply. While someone else is speaking, they're already planning their next sentence. But great communicators do something different. They become curious. They ask questions. They pay attention. And something amazing happens. People naturally enjoy talking to them, not because they speak the most, because they make others feel heard. Think about your favorite conversations. Were they with someone who talked non-stop? Or someone who truly listened? Exactly. Listening isn't silent. It's active. It's one of the strongest forms of respect. Communication isn't only your words. Your body speaks too. Imagine someone saying, I'm confident, while looking at the floor, avoiding eye contact, speaking quietly. Would you believe them? Probably not. Now imagine another person saying the exact same sentence. They're standing comfortably, smiling naturally, making gentle eye contact. The words are identical, but the message feels completely different. Because people don't only hear communication, they see it. Here's a challenge. Over the next week, try explaining one idea every day. It could be something you learned, a story you heard, a lesson from a book. Practice making complicated ideas simple, because the ability to simplify is one of the greatest signs of mastery. Remember this: your opportunities in life are often limited, not by what you know, but by what you can communicate. Improve this skill, and people won't just hear you, they'll remember you. Now let's move to something even more important. Because imagine becoming successful, earning more money, building your dream career, only to realize you don't have the energy to enjoy any of it. That's why the third improvement isn't about your career, it's about your body. Third, improve your health before it's too late. Imagine buying the most expensive car in the world, a car worth millions of dollars. Would you fill it with poor quality fuel? Would you ignore the engine? Would you never change the oil? Of course not. Then why do so many people treat their own bodies that way? Your body is the vehicle that carries every dream you'll ever have. Without it, nothing else matters. Many people think health is only about appearance, looking fit, having muscles, losing weight. But health goes much deeper. Health is energy, focus, patience, confidence, clear thinking. Imagine waking up every morning already exhausted. Simple tasks feel difficult. Your mood changes quickly. You can't concentrate. Was the problem your goals or your health? Sometimes, the biggest obstacle isn't lack of motivation. It's a lack of energy. Let's begin with movement. Your body was designed to move, not to sit for 10 hours every day. You don't need an expensive gym. You don't need perfect equipment. You simply need consistency. A 30-minute walk, a morning stretch, a short workout. These small habits improve far more than your muscles. They improve your brain. When you exercise, your body releases chemicals that reduce stress, increase focus, and improve your mood. You're not just training your body, you're training your mind. The second pillar is nutrition. Think of food as information. Every meal sends a message to your body. Some meals say, "Here's energy." Others say, "Work harder." This doesn't mean you must eat perfectly. Nobody does. But small improvements matter. More water, more vegetables, more real food, less processed food, not perfection. Progress. Now let's talk about something people often sacrifice first. Sleep. Many people proudly say, "I only sleep 5 hours," as if exhaustion were an achievement. But here's the truth. While you sleep, your brain repairs itself. Your memories become stronger. Your emotions become balanced. Your body recovers. Sleep isn't wasting time. Sleep is preparing for tomorrow. 1 hour of quality sleep can improve tomorrow more than 1 extra hour scrolling through your phone tonight. Finally, protect your mental health. Not every battle deserves your attention. Not every negative comment deserves your energy. Not every stressful thought deserves your belief. Sometimes, the healthiest thing you can do is step outside. Take a deep breath. Go for a walk. Talk with someone you trust. Rest without feeling guilty. Because your mind needs recovery, just like your body does. Here's something I hope you remember. Your future success depends on the condition of the person chasing it. That person is you. Take care of yourself now, and your future self will quietly thank you every single day. You've now strengthened your discipline, your communication, and your health. But the next improvement determines whether your hard work creates freedom or constant stress. Let's talk about something that affects nearly every adult on Earth: money. So far, we've talked about improving yourself from the inside, your discipline, your communication, your health. Now it's time to discuss something that affects almost every decision you make as an adult: money. Not because money is the most important thing in life, but because a lack of financial knowledge creates stress that quietly steals your peace of mind. Think about it. How many people work harder every year, yet never feel financially secure? How many people earn more money, but somehow save less? The problem isn't always income. Sometimes it's understanding. And that's why the fourth improvement might change your future more than you realize. Fourth, improve your financial intelligence. Let me ask you something. If someone handed you $1 million today, would you still have it 5 years from now? Or would it slowly disappear? It sounds like an easy question, but history gives us an interesting answer. Many lottery winners become wealthy overnight and broke just a few years later. How is that possible? Because earning money and managing money are completely different skills. Money doesn't solve financial problems. Financial wisdom does. Imagine 2 friends. Both earn exactly the same salary. The first friend spends first and saves whatever is left. The second friend saves first and spends what remains. At the beginning, their lives look almost identical. The same job, the same income, the same lifestyle. But 5 years later, their lives look completely different. One has savings, investments, peace of mind. The other has debt, stress, and constant financial pressure. The difference wasn't luck, it was one habit, small decisions, repeated consistently. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that wealth is about expensive things, a bigger house, a newer phone, a luxury car. But real wealth often looks much quieter. It's having choices. It's knowing that one unexpected expense won't destroy your life. It's sleeping peacefully because you've prepared for tomorrow. Freedom is often invisible. Stress rarely is. Here's another way to think about money. Imagine every dollar you earn as a small employee. You can immediately send that employee away, or you can give it a job. Some employees pay your bills, others buy your food, some help you learn new skills, and a few, if managed wisely, can begin working for you. That's one of the biggest mindset shifts successful people make. They don't only work for money, they gradually learn how to make money work for them. Now, don't misunderstand this. You don't need to become a financial expert overnight. You don't need to memorize complicated investment strategies. Start with simple habits. Track your spending. Create a monthly budget. Build an emergency fund. Read one book about personal finance. Learn the difference between an asset and a liability. These small lessons can save you from years of unnecessary stress. There's another investment that's often overlooked: investing in yourself. Think about it. A new phone loses value over time, but learning a valuable skill, improving your English, understanding technology, or becoming a better communicator can increase your value for years. The greatest investment you'll ever make is the one no one can take away from you: your knowledge. Here's a question I want you to remember. The next time you're about to spend money, ask yourself, is this making my life better for one day or helping me build a better future? Not every purchase needs to be perfect. Life is meant to be enjoyed, but intentional spending creates intentional living, and intentional living creates freedom. Remember this line: money is not about buying everything you want. It's about having the freedom to choose what truly matters. Now imagine something. You suddenly become disciplined, healthy, a great communicator, financially smart, but every day still feels rushed. You're always busy, always stressed, always saying, "I don't have enough time." Then something else is missing. Not more hours, better priorities. Fifth, master your time before it masters you. Every person on earth receives the same 24 hours. The CEO, the student, the artist, the athlete, the entrepreneur. Nobody gets 25, nobody gets 23. Time is the only resource that's perfectly equal. So, why do some people accomplish so much, while others constantly feel behind? Because successful people don't manage time. They manage attention. Think about your average day. How many times do you unlock your phone without even knowing why? Just one quick look, then another. One notification becomes 5 minutes. 5 minutes becomes 30. 30 minutes quietly becomes 2 hours. Not because you chose to waste time, because distraction happened one small moment at a time. Time is rarely stolen all at once. It's stolen in tiny pieces. Imagine 2 jars. Both represent one day. The first person fills their jar with sand first. Small distractions, random scrolling, endless notifications, unnecessary arguments. When it's finally time for the important things, there's no room left. The second person does the opposite. They place the biggest rocks into the jar first. health, learning, family, meaningful work, then everything else fits around what truly matters. The difference isn't the size of the jar, it's the order. Here's something powerful. Busy doesn't always mean productive. You can answer emails all day, attend meetings, check messages, feel exhausted, and still move nowhere. Activity is not progress. Progress happens when your actions move you toward your goals. Ask yourself every morning, what's the one task that would make today successful? Finish that first. Everything else becomes easier. There's another habit that quietly changes lives. Planning tomorrow before tomorrow begins. Take just 5 minutes every evening. Write down your 3 most important tasks. That's it. When you wake up, you've already removed one of the biggest causes of procrastination: decision fatigue. Your brain no longer asks, "What should I do today?" It already knows. Now let's talk about something uncomfortable: saying no. Many people lose hours every week, not because they're lazy, but because they're afraid to disappoint others. They say yes to invitations, yes to extra work, yes to unnecessary commitments, until one day, their own dreams have no space left. Remember this: every time you say yes to something, you're also saying no to something else. Choose carefully. Imagine standing at the airport. Your flight leaves in 5 minutes. Would you stop to scroll through social media? Probably not, because suddenly, every second feels valuable. The truth is, your life is no different. You just can't see the departure board. Time always feels unlimited, until it isn't. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Perfect moments rarely arrive. Build them. Protect your mornings. Limit distractions. Focus deeply. Rest intentionally. Repeat consistently. Because your future won't be created by dramatic weekends. It will be created by ordinary Tuesdays, used wisely. Here's one final thought before we move on. Your bank account can recover. Your health can improve. Your confidence can grow. But today's 24 hours will never come back. Spend them like they're valuable, because they are. You've now strengthened your discipline, your communication, your health, your finances, and your relationship with time. But the world is changing faster than ever before. The next 2 improvements will determine whether you grow with that change or get left behind by it. Let's talk about digital skills and something even more important: your character. Think about how much the world has changed in the last 10 years. The way we work, the way we learn, the way we communicate, the way we earn money. Almost everything is different. Now imagine how much will change before 2027. Here's a difficult truth. The world isn't slowing down to give anyone more time to catch up. It's moving faster every single year. The question isn't whether technology will change. It will. The real question is, will you change with it? Because the 6th thing you must improve isn't just another skill. It's your ability to stay relevant. 6th, develop digital skills. Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that everything you've learned over the last 20 years has suddenly become outdated. Sounds impossible, doesn't it? But for many people, that's exactly how change feels. Not because they aren't intelligent, but because they stopped learning. One day they knew everything needed for their job. A few years later, the tools changed, the software changed, the market changed, the opportunities changed, but they didn't, and slowly, they began falling behind without even realizing it. Here's something interesting. The most successful people today aren't necessarily the ones with the highest IQ. They're often the ones who learn the fastest. Because learning has become a lifelong habit, not something that ends after school. Think about it. Years ago, people spent hours searching through books for information. Today, you can learn almost any skill from your home. Programming, graphic design, video editing, marketing, public speaking, languages, artificial intelligence, business. The knowledge is available. The question is, are you making time to learn it? Or are you spending those same hours consuming entertainment that you'll forget tomorrow? Now, don't misunderstand this. Technology isn't your enemy. Distraction is. The same phone that wastes 2 hours of someone's day can help another person build an entirely new career. The same internet that spreads endless entertainment also contains millions of free lessons. Technology simply magnifies your choices. It becomes whatever you decide to use it for. Imagine two people. Every evening, both spend 1 hour on their laptop. The first person watches random videos, scrolls endlessly, clicks from one topic to another. By the end of the night, they've consumed hundreds of pieces of information, but remembered almost nothing. The second person has a simple goal. Tonight, learn one useful skill. Tomorrow, practice it. The next day, improve it. After 1 year, those two people are living completely different lives. Not because one was luckier, because one invested their attention. Here's a challenge. Instead of asking, "What should I watch tonight?" ask yourself, "What should I learn tonight?" That one question can quietly change your future. Maybe it's learning how to use AI more effectively. Maybe it's improving your English. Maybe it's editing videos. Maybe it's understanding digital marketing. Whatever the skill, start now. Because by the time everyone realizes it's important, the people who started early will already be experts. Remember this. The future doesn't belong to people who know everything. It belongs to people who never stop learning. But here's something even more important. Imagine becoming wealthy, healthy, highly skilled, respected. Then one mistake destroys your reputation. One dishonest decision, one broken promise, one moment when nobody is watching. Because no matter how successful you become, there's one thing people will remember long after they forget your achievements: your character. Seventh, build unshakable character. Let's imagine something. Two business owners have the same company, the same income, the same experience, the same number of employees. One becomes known for honesty, keeping promises, treating people fairly. The other cuts corners, makes excuses, breaks trust whenever it benefits them. Who do you think builds the stronger future? Maybe not immediately, but eventually, trust always wins. Because success can attract people. Character makes them stay. Character is something strange. You can't buy it, you can't borrow it, and you can't fake it forever. Sooner or later, who you truly are always becomes visible. Not during easy days, during difficult ones. Anyone can stay calm when life is going well. Anyone can be kind when everything is easy. Real character appears when you're tired, disappointed, frustrated, under pressure. That's when your values become real. Think back to someone you deeply respect, maybe a parent, a teacher, a mentor, a friend. What do you admire most about them? Was it their money? Probably not. Was it their job title? Maybe. But usually, people remember something much simpler: their honesty, their kindness, their courage, their reliability, the way they treated people who couldn't give them anything in return. That's character, and it's unforgettable. Here's a lesson many people learn too late. Your reputation is built slowly, but can disappear quickly. Imagine spending 10 years earning trust, then breaking it in 10 seconds. One lie, one careless decision, one promise you never intended to keep. That's why successful people guard their integrity like treasure, because they understand something powerful. When people trust you, opportunities multiply. When trust disappears, so do opportunities. Character also means taking responsibility. Instead of blaming circumstances, you ask, what can I do better? Instead of blaming other people, you look in the mirror first. This doesn't mean everything is your fault. It means your response is always your responsibility. And that's where growth begins. Another sign of strong character is humility. The strongest people don't pretend to know everything. They're comfortable saying, I don't know, or I made a mistake. Ironically, those simple words make people respect them even more, because honesty creates credibility. Pretending creates doubt. Here's a challenge for you. For the next week, keep every promise you make, even the small ones. If you say you'll arrive at 6, arrive at 6. If you promise to call someone, call them. If you tell yourself you'll study for 30 minutes, study for 30 minutes. Why? Because character isn't built through one heroic moment. It's built through thousands of ordinary decisions. The little things become the big things. One day, people may forget exactly what you achieved. They may forget your salary, your possessions, your social media followers, but they'll remember one question. How did this person make me feel? Did they feel respected, encouraged, safe, inspired? Those answers become your legacy. And legacies are built through character. Remember this sentence. Talent may open the first door. Character decides how many doors stay open. Never sacrifice your integrity for temporary success. Because temporary success disappears. Character remains. You've now improved 7 powerful areas of your life. Your discipline, your communication, your health, your financial intelligence, your time, your digital skills, your character. But there's one final improvement, and without it, the other 7 slowly fade away. Because this last one controls how you think, how you respond to failure, and whether you continue growing or quietly give up. Let's talk about the most important improvement before 2027. Your mindset. Take a deep breath for a moment. Look at how far we've come. We've talked about discipline, communication, health, money, time, digital skills, and character. Each one matters. Each one can improve your life. But here's something most people never realize. None of these habits survive for very long if your mindset stays the same. Because every challenge you face, every failure, every setback, first enters your mind before it enters your life. That's why the 8th improvement isn't just another habit. It's the foundation beneath all the others. 8th, develop a growth mindset. Let me ask you one final question. When something goes wrong, what is the first thing you tell yourself? Do you think, I'm just not good enough? Maybe this isn't for me. Successful people are different. Or do you think, I haven't figured it out yet? That one word, yet, can completely change your future because it transforms failure into feedback. Imagine a child learning to walk. They fall again and again, sometimes hundreds of times. Now imagine if that child thought like many adults. I fell 3 times. Walking just isn't for me. Sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? Yet adults do something very similar. They try learning English. They struggle. They quit. They start a business. It becomes difficult. They quit. They begin exercising. Results come slowly. They quit. The difference isn't intelligence. The difference is perspective. People with a fixed mindset see failure as proof they should stop. People with a growth mindset see failure as proof they're learning. Think about every skill you admire. playing the piano, speaking confidently, running a marathon, leading a company, creating videos, writing books. Do you think anyone became excellent on their first attempt? Of course not. Behind every successful person, there are thousands of mistakes nobody ever saw. The audience sees the performance. They don't see the practice. They see the victory. They don't see the struggle. Never compare your beginning to someone else's middle. Here's another truth. Growth feels uncomfortable, always. When you build muscle, your body feels tired. When you learn a language, your brain feels challenged. When you leave your comfort zone, your confidence feels uncertain. That discomfort isn't a sign you're failing. It's often a sign you're growing. Many people spend their lives avoiding discomfort. Successful people learn to become friends with it because they understand something powerful. Everything you want lives just outside your comfort zone. Let's imagine two people. Both receive criticism. The first person becomes defensive. They don't understand me. They're wrong. I don't need advice. The second person pauses. Instead of asking, "Why are they criticizing me?" they ask, "Is there something I can learn?" Who improves faster? The answer is obvious. Growth begins the moment your ego becomes smaller than your desire to improve. Here's a habit that can transform your mindset. At the end of every day, ask yourself 3 questions. What did I do well today? What could I improve tomorrow? What is one lesson I'll carry forward? Not 10 lessons, just one. Because improvement doesn't happen through dramatic changes. It happens through daily reflection, small improvements, repeated consistently. One of the biggest myths about successful people is that they're fearless. They're not. They feel fear, just like everyone else. The difference is, they don't let fear make their decisions. Imagine standing at the edge of a swimming pool. You'll never know what the water feels like until you jump. Thinking about it for hours changes nothing. Action creates clarity, not overthinking. There will be days when you feel tired, days when progress feels invisible, days when you wonder if anything is changing. On those days, remember this: a seed doesn't become a tree overnight. For weeks, sometimes months, nothing seems to happen. But beneath the surface, roots are growing. The same is true for your life. Just because you can't see progress doesn't mean progress isn't happening. Keep watering the seed. The final message. Now imagine it's December 31st. You're standing in front of a mirror. You look older, not by much, but enough to notice. Now ask yourself one question. Which version of me is standing here? Is it the version that waited? The version that kept saying, "I'll start next Monday. I'll begin next month. Maybe next year." Or is it the version that decided, one ordinary day, to stop waiting? Because here's the truth. Life rarely changes because of one extraordinary decision. It changes because of thousands of ordinary decisions made consistently. The person you'll become in 2027 isn't decided by luck. It isn't decided by where you were born. It isn't decided by how many followers you have or how much money you earn today. It's decided by the choices you make after this video ends. Remember the 8 improvements we've talked about. Discipline teaches you to keep promises to yourself. Communication helps the world understand your value. Health gives you the energy to pursue your dreams. Financial intelligence creates freedom instead of stress. Time management reminds you that every day is an investment. Digital skills keep you ready for a changing world. Character earns trust that success alone never can. And a growth mindset ensures you never stop becoming better than you were yesterday. These aren't separate habits. They're connected. Each one strengthens the next. Together, they create a life that's built on purpose instead of chance. If you've watched this far, it tells me something about you. You're not just looking for entertainment. You're looking for change. And that's something worth protecting. So when this video ends, don't close it and return to the same habits. Choose one thing, just one. Maybe it's waking up 30 minutes earlier. Maybe it's reading 10 pages a day. Maybe it's taking a daily walk. Maybe it's learning one new digital skill. Maybe it's finally keeping one promise you've been breaking to yourself. Start there, not tomorrow, today. Because the future doesn't begin on January 1st. It begins with the decision you make right now.